You met her at a mutual friend's party, the kind of party that has become irrelevant now. You don't remember the occasion, just that it happened. What mattered was that everyone already knew. They had seen the likes, the story views. So when you finally met, it didn't feel like a beginning, more like delayed confirmation catching up with reality. At first, you were nervous, but oh gosh, was she pretty? At some point, someone thought it would be funny to dare you to kiss. So you both did, like they do in the movies. It was the first kiss for both of you. So logically, neither of you knew what you were doing, which meant there was no standard you could fail, which felt nice. You didn't talk much after that. The night had already crossed into the surreal, and conversations felt like a task best postponed. So you delayed it. Later, as it turns out, is an incredibly efficient word. It carries entire emotional structures without complaint. Later became messages, and messages became nights that forgot to end. You learned how she types when she's tired. You learned which emojis were jokes and which were honesty pretending to be jokes. Everything felt aligned, effortless, as if the universe had briefly stopped adjusting variables behind your back. The shitty, pretentious poems they taught in classes started to make a little bit sense. This felt like the kind of story people remember kindly, which is, historically speaking, an ambitious conclusion. You couldn't meet every single day, mostly because she lived far away, but that never really broke the continuity. You kept texting, kept calling before sleeping, until sleeping itself started to feel like a shared ritual. Conversations slowly turned into habits. Good mornings came automatically, and good nights began to feel necessary. You started saving thoughts for later, because later by now felt guaranteed. And then you got quite comfortable. This relationship was for life, and nothing could ruin it. You stopped caring how you look because you already had the love of your life, so why even bother trying? She told you she loved you no matter what, but now, on hindsight, you felt you could have done better. You both go to college, promising each other you'd stay in love nonetheless. And then it happens. She tells you she screwed someone else, but you, caught somewhere between jealousy and a desperation for closeness, decided to end it because you think there is no point staying and waiting for something that doesn't exist. Or at least, in hindsight, that's what you wish you did. Instead, you begged her to stay, you cried, you whined, you told her you loved her over and over enough times that the words began to lose their edges. But she was already in love with someone else, and you, sitting in a different city, couldn't do a single thing about it. Distance turned helplessness into a fact. So it ended quietly and unevenly, with you crying and begging despite being the one who had waited. And then it happens. Everything starts feeling grey, not sad exactly, just muted, like the saturation slider was nudged down and forgotten. You wake up on time, you eat, you scroll, you reply with appropriate delays. Life continues to function, which feels vaguely insulting. People ask how you are doing, and you give answers that are technically true. Fine, managing, busy. What you don't say is that your sense of time is still broken. Later no longer feels generous. Later feels unreliable. You notice strange absences. There is no one to text when something mildly interesting happens. No ritual before sleeping. Nights return to being just nights. Poems stop making sense again. Then, annoyingly, they start making sense in a different way. You replay things not to fix them, but to locate the moment where the story quietly stopped being mutual. You don't always find it, and that's how it ends. You move on socially, practically, convincingly. Your life works again. You meet new people, you laugh at the right places, you tell the story with enough distance that it sounds finished. Later no longer carries weight. Poems go back to being just poems. Nights are just nights. And yet, sometimes, without warning, you think of her. Not the betrayer or the begging, but the rituals, the certainty, the time when later meant something, and your body reacts before your mind can correct it. Your stomach tightens, your throat closes, and you feel like puking. Not because you still love her, but because some part of you remembers trusting something that wasn't infinite. You have moved on, but memory, unlike you, never learned how to.